Thank you. Then next up, I met Tanya. And then she came by and we just organized it tonight, and I really appreciate that you guys all showed up. And one more thing is that we do need the film screening, as I said. If you guys have a film that you need a place to screen, please contact me and we can schedule the films for every month, every last Friday of the month, so we do the screening. So without any further ado, I'd love to introduce one of the producers, Tanya, and say a couple of words about the film. Then right after that, we're going to do questioning and answering about the film, and then we'll take it from there. Tanya.
Thrilled. The way this came to me, I had been trying to figure out what the next step was with the film and talking with Eric a bit and fantasizing about just having a screening that was not too big but not too small. Maybe we could do a little Q&A, and I just couldn't figure out exactly where or how. And then I got this phone call from Eric and it just fell in our lap. So I'm so thrilled to have you all here. Thank you so much for coming out. And we're going to have Q&A afterwards. Brandon Burkhart, one of the stars in the film, is going to talk a little bit about Eric's filming style. And I will look forward to seeing you all after. Please stay after, even after Q&A, we're going to schmooze and hang out and have signed headshots for donations and other classy stuff.
I'm just here to say, doesn't Tanaya look lovely tonight? That's not even her good shoulder. Wait till you see her right shoulder. She's being a little modest tonight with just a unishoulder shoulder look. So welcome to our Oscar pre-party. We're here to celebrate all the nominees. I just want to say thank you for supporting independent film. This is extremely independent. There's no budget, really. And just so you know, this is not a conventional style of filmmaking. There's no scripts. Eric likes to work with just scenarios in his head, and the actors improvise about 85% of the dialogue. Eric says he likes to do it that way so it's more spontaneous, it's like cinema verite, it's more realistic. I think he does it because that way when you show up and he says, take your shirt off and drop your pants, you're like, I can't argue now, I'm here to film. I wasn't ready for this, but okay. Anyway, thank you for coming out tonight, and have fun.
Really, truly, if you guys can donate something at front desk, and then that will be helpful to promote the film. And then one more thing I'd like to say, that I'd like to acknowledge a friend of mine, Michael Greenspan, which is he's sitting there as a filmmaker himself from AFI. Michael, thank you very much for coming, sir. Thank you. Okay. Round of applause to the filmmaker. Let's bring the filmmakers and the directors over here, and then cast.
You guys fall asleep.
Get everybody? All right.
Just making sure everybody's in focus again.
Do we have any cast and crew? Crew members. Your own crew members? Anybody else? Okay, so let's give them another round of applause, please. Excellent. So, I'd like to ask the first question, and then I'd like to turn to the audience and let them to ask whatever question they have. The first question is, I'd love to know what is the inspiration of the story? Why did you come up with this kind of story and not something else?
Well, I've been in LA for about 5 years now, and most of my friends are actors. Starting with Brandon. Where's he?
Oh, what are you doing?
I was,
It's fun time.
grew up with.
I'm sitting on the roaster off the show at Brown's house. Got three. Okay.
So I grew up with Brandon since we were little kids in San Antonio, Texas, and we ended up out here on different tracks. Brandon moved out here to pursue acting, and I pursue filmmaking. And it was through my friendship with Brandon that I started meeting other actors, started hanging out with them. And we would hang out late at night and be at about 2 or 3 in the morning. And I noticed this sort of phenomenon that I thought was kind of strange, how most of the people didn't seem to want to go home. And so I just started thinking about that. What do they do when they go home? You know, and that's where it all started from there. And then as time went on, I started studying this. You know, and then because I was the kind of person who actually enjoyed going home because I had things to do, or I actually enjoyed my sleep.
People to sleep next to you.
And so that's how it all started.
Yeah. But how did you motivate all these people? Do you know all of them, or?
Yes, I know everyone here on a personal level.
Stalking, he motivated, he stalked us a lot.
Okay.
He knows what he wants.
Actually, everyone here that I met has their own funny little story, but one of the actors actually early on dropped out, and David Daskell on the end over here was able to provide Tamlin for us. So I didn't know Tamlin at all, and I just went off of basically my trust in David, and also David being in my first film and Brandon. So and plus we were up against the clock.
And how did you convince them to the story? Most of the people usually like to have uplifting and inspiring story, but in the film, we see some uplifting, we see something loneliness and goes down. But how did you convince them to come up with the story? Why they should be part of the story?
Well, because they all needed work. Okay. How about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to chime in that I was in Eric's first film, Match, which was only screened in his apartment. Thank you. And that one was pretty much a straight-out comedy. Very little drama on that, only unintentional drama. It was straight-out comedy, so I was very intrigued when Eric said he had an idea of a film that started off very light and kind of frivolous with the party scene, and then got serious later on. It was kind of a big contrast. And he told me about the idea about a year before we filmed about where do people go after these Hollywood parties, what they do when they're alone. I thought that was very intriguing. But yeah, so it's interesting to like have the schizophrenia of like fun, happy, smiley people, but there are really a lot of depressed people in this town. I don't know if you know any people in LA that are depressed. Probably not. No, you do. But they smile on your face. And actually, I had a friend of mine who saw the trailer for Hollywood and Vine on Eric's website, and he was like, yeah, it's great that you guys made 2 films at once. Like, I like the first film better from the trailer. And I'm like, well, that's because it's the same movie, and the first part's the happy, upbeat part, and then the other part's the when you're home alone part. So I thought it was interesting that like someone thought it was actually 2 films.
I know for me, when Eric first brought the idea to me, he said, he told me he had this idea about, showing what it's like when people are alone. And I thought that was really cool because I don't see a lot of movies that really show that. And he asked if I thought I could play a girl that lives out of a car, and I thought that was a neat idea, probably because I had something to bring to it. For any of you who know me, you may know that for a while I sort of lived out of my car. So, but I thought it would be fun to revisit that and see if I could bring life to it. It wasn't hard to convince me. What was the question again?
New question.
How did Eric motivate me?
Right.
After weeks upon weeks of calling and driving by my house, that was the biggest motivator. My biggest motivation is, I act, whatever, but it's kind of a selfish